So I know you'll have been hanging on the edge of your seat for this, the anticipation killing you for the last week. But just so you know, a Spanish dog says guau guau. I've also found out that in Turkish they say hev hev, and in Mandarin they say wang wang. And
do you know what another word for a wang is?
What?
Is that an up here thing?
What?
A wang is a willy.
Well, yeah, I mean... I thought you were going to say something else. Like, yeah,
well, that's not just
get your wang out, obviously. Yeah. If you don't know what we're talking about, then it's because you haven't listened to the previous episode of ADHD as Females, the podcast with the wonderful Meryl Davis, and we very much recommend that you do because it is very funny.
It is very funny, yeah. And we were talking about animal noises and how they're not the same globally.
Yes.
The way humans pronounce the noises that they make.
Well, we all speak different languages, so of course the animals do too.
Well, I still can't get my head around it.
But we wanted to share that really fun episode on the week of Blue Monday to brighten everything up. But this week we're going to dive into some more serious stuff because there's much to discuss. So much that what we thought was we've got 3 topics in one this week. So yeah, we should probably shut up if we're going to have any chance of fitting it all into one episode.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go.
Okay.
ADHD as females, ADHDAF, ADHD as females, the podcast.
Hi, I'm Dawn.
Hi, I'm Laura, and we are ADHD AF. Seriously. We are 2 neurodivergent neighbours who moved to the same street at the same time, at the same age, with the same undiagnosed disability. What are the chances?
Since discovering the enormous impact ADHD has had on our lives and the horrifying numbers of missing undiagnosed females, it has become our mission to make some serious noise.
We want to use our voices to raise awareness, break the stigma, and share our experiences in the hope that they help others.
So join us for a chat, or as it's called up here in Aberdeen, a blether.
Trigger warning, we will be covering some really sensitive topics, so please do have a read of the description of each episode before listening.
It's important to note that we are not medical professionals, we're not therapists or coaches, we're not qualified to offer advice or support. What we will do is share our experiences alongside resources and information from professionals. We will talk over each other and we will go off topic and forget the point mid-sentence.
We are both assigned female at birth, which means that we can only speak from the experience of life as AFAB people. However, ADHDAF is an inclusive space. Whatever your gender, you are very welcome here.
Yes, you are.
ADHD as females, ADHDAF.
Okay, so the first topic we're going to try and cover is titration.
I like how you put the try
yes,
in there.
it's always essential that we have that buffer in there. Is ADHD medication, because Dawn has recently started titration.
I have.
And in our Patreon community, you've been doing a titration diary.
Yeah.
But we thought we would sort of touch on it here and talk a little bit about medication. I just want to start by reading something from aadduk.org.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by controlled drugs?
What do you mean?
Well, these are drugs medications which fall under the Misuse of Drugs Act. This means that the government believes that these are drugs medications which are likely to be abused. Under this act, the drugs are arranged into 3 classes, A, B and C, and each class has a different level of penalty for possessing and dealing the drugs. For example, ecstasy is a Class A drug, which means that if you are caught possessing it, you could get up to 7 years in prison or an unlimited fine or both. If you are caught dealing ecstasy, you could get up to life in prison or an unlimited fine or both. Unfortunately for us, methylphenidate, Ritalin, Concerta, Equasim, and Medicanet, I should have read this through before I even said it, before I started, shouldn't I? And dexedrine are both categorised as Class B drugs, which means anyone caught possessing them illegally without a prescription could get up to 5 years in prison or an unlimited fine or both. Anyone caught dealing methylphenidate and dexedrine could get up to 14 years in prison or an unlimited fine or both. So it is believed that the medication that we need to treat well-researched success rate to treat a brain disorder is basically an illegal Class B drug.
Yeah. It can be misused.
It can be misused. I do think it's interesting that one of the arguments is that it can be addictive when none of us can remember to take it or if we have taken it or not.
Yeah.
Is a really interesting thing to point out. But I'll come back with a bit more information from that article in a bit. Let's talk about you, Donnie. Titration.
Yeah. Where am I at? So I started my medication. It must have been, I actually think I've got this date right. It's the 19th of December. It's in my head. So I started my medication on the 19th of December, 5 milligrams of Ritalin 3 times a day, which is a head fuck in itself, because I've got to remember that. And that was for the first week. And then I went up on Boxing Day to 10 milligrams 3 times a day. And that's what I've been on since. And I've got my meds review tomorrow. So I will see where things are at from there. But basically, I don't know, it's been very up and down. Some days I feel as if it's working a little bit better than others. And then other days I'm feeling down. But I guess it's just because it's maybe not working in all areas.
Yeah.
Or not that it's not working in those areas. It's maybe that I'm not focusing on those areas and there's still areas that I wish I was focusing on and I'm struggling with.
Yeah, completely. And the thing is as well, a lot of people talk about having to work with your meds. You know, there's so many different things, like you've noticed a difference in yourself if you've eaten or if you've not eaten, if you take it too long apart or things like that. But also, you know, there are loads of memes about what the meds will work when you hyper-focus on one thing, so you could hyper-focus on the wrong thing. There is an element of having to work with it and still push through effectively.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where it comes to more than just meds.
100%.
And it's definitely something that I've noticed, is that there's areas that I struggle with because of confidence, self-worth issues. And I think that that's not going to get fixed by medication.
No.
You've
got to have the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I need to work on those areas still, and hopefully with the medication and with working on those areas, that will maybe start to
you've got to tick all the different
things.
boxes.
Yeah.
I think also the thing to bear in mind is, like, you are very recently diagnosed.
Yeah.
You are on the roller coaster. You know, you've got to go through the stages of grief. I know you have been before, but it's still like adapting. And like you say, if you did have really high hopes for what the medication would do as well, there's going to be an element of disappointment there, and it's trying to get to that acceptance of the fact that fundamentally, forever and ever, we have both got ADHD.
Yeah,
forever.
Absolutely.
And the meds can help, but again, these just might not be the right meds.
Well, that's it. And I guess I'll find out more when I speak to the psychiatrist tomorrow. I'll speak to him and I'll tell him, you know, everything that I'm seeing, everything that I'm not seeing, where I'm still struggling, maybe small improvements that I have seen. I think definitely when it comes to eating, I've noticed changes.
Yes.
I'm not impulsively eating the same.
Yeah, that's
so
brilliant.
where I just, like, you know, out of boredom or just for something to do.
Well, it's sensation, isn't it? Stimming.
Or just because it's there.
Yeah.
I've noticed that I'm not, you know, being so tempted by things.
Yeah.
Like, for example, we went to the Burger King drive-thru the other day.
Yeah.
And I didn't have anything.
Yes.
For the first time in my life.
Yeah.
I would have never in the past passed up. Whether I was hungry or not, I'd have been like, yeah.
I was buying too.
Yeah. I'd have been like, get me a Big Mac meal, baby. That's McDonald's.
That's McDonald's. You definitely wouldn't have got one of those.
But yeah. I'd have definitely, like, you know, had said something, but yeah, for me to not have it and be like, well, no, I've had my dinner, I'm not actually hungry.
Yeah.
Is a big change for me.
Yeah.
And the way I look at food and eat food. So that's massive.
It's a massive positive. I definitely notice a difference in you, 100%. You know, you really are. I don't know. I don't really have the words for it, but I do really notice a difference. And the things that you struggle with, like you say, And I don't mean in terms of like how you feel about motivation or whatever, but I mean the things that you struggle with, they are the life stuff, which is the counselling, which is the coaching stuff, you know?
And that's it. And I think as well, like, obviously I started the medication at Christmas time.
Yeah.
Like the start of
The
January,
worst possible
the start of
time.
January is just not a nice time of year anyway.
And we're out of routine.
Yeah.
Especially that week between Christmas and New Year's. Like, that's ridiculous. I remember you messaged and you were like, oh, I'm not really feeling that great. But I was like, mate, nobody is. This is the week where everyone does fuck all squared. There is nothing to be done in betwixtmas, is there?
Well, exactly. There was that, and then like a week after we were into January, hormones started coming into play, and I was extremely premenstrual. I was all over the place emotionally, and I think looking at that week where I was struggling, I'm like, maybe the drugs were doing something because
I was on
they're
my
certainly not right now.
Yeah, the last week I was on my period, and I was coming on my period, and I didn't know because I'm rubbish and I never keep track of things, do I? But like, I literally, do you remember? I just couldn't concentrate. I couldn't write words, and that's one of the things I can do, and I just couldn't do it, and it's because the meds just don't work as well. As we know, like Louise Pink Pear Bear said, like she changes how she takes her medication or the different things that she has with it. Sorry, I've forgotten exactly what she said. But because of exactly that, the meds don't work with those hormonal fluctuations. They change.
And that's definitely something we should take up for the meds review. Yeah, definitely something that I will be bringing up. I've been taking the drugs regularly as well. I have missed the odd one or two or taken them later than I would have liked, but for the most part, I've been all right. I've been using MediSafe, which is an app on my phone, which is really good. You can put in the medication you're taking, put in the dosage that you're taking, put in how regularly you need to take it, how many pills that you have. You can add in notes if you've skipped anything like that. You can add it all in, and it gives you alarms when you need to take your meds as well.
They're not paying us, by the way, but they probably should. So if you're listening, anyone from Medicare.
Yeah, we will take some advertising.
But do you wish that you didn't have to do that? Do you wish that you just had one pill to remember to take in the morning so release?
I do think it would be a little bit easier if there was just one in the morning.
And you can say that to your guy on tomorrow.
Definitely, I do think so. But
it's great you have been able to for the most part.
Yeah, it's been all right, but I do worry that over time, I'll get a little bit more, like, what's the word? Loose with it.
Yeah.
It's not the right word, is it?
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Less militant, less on it, yeah.
Because obviously I'm more on it just now because it's important and I want to make sure it's working. But, like, the other thing with having to take drugs 3 times a day is that I've got to carry those drugs with me.
Yeah.
And that's medication, and I don't keep it in the pill packet with the
notes,
prescription, because it's too big. So I have bought a little keyring, which I just pop a couple of pills in when I'm out and about, and that it works perfectly for me because I always have my keys with me. But imagine I'm going out clubbing and they're like searching me, they're like, what's this? And they find a couple of pills. I've got my MediSafe, but are they gonna take that? That's not really.
It's just it's just not nice, as we've said, as these are classed as class B drugs. Like you know, it's not a nice thing.
But as far as it goes, I mean, thankfully I've not had too many nasty side effects.
Yeah, that is a real positive, actually, because a lot of people really do suffer very badly.
Yeah. So I did notice at the start cold hands and feet, which I'm cold hands and feet.
Your feetsies.
Yeah, my feetsies are getting cold. So cold hands and feet, which is definitely a side effect of the drugs, because that's something that never.
Because you're hot.
Yeah, I'm always the hot, sweaty, clammy one. Sexy, I know. But it's true. I never get bothered with cold hands and feet, but I have noticed that that's definitely a symptom of it. If I haven't had my breakfast and I take the meds, I do feel a little bit more jittery.
Yeah.
So, like, if anything, that's a good thing because it means I'm having breakfast in the morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas before I'd maybe skip it. So I'm getting up, I'll have, even if it's just a bowl of cereal or a slice of toast, I'm having something alongside my medication.
Yeah, that's really good.
So that's a positive, really.
Yeah.
And I guess dry mouth. And again, that's helping me drink
more water.
helping me drink more water. I'm still not great at that. but I'm better than I was.
Yeah.
And that's a
Yeah.
positive. Exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, the thing is, I think there's a thing about drinking water, isn't it? It's like the more you drink, the more your body gets used to it and like craves it. So I think it's just a thing to like persevere with, because then you can't even imagine not drinking it. Like
Yeah.
I've got a friend who literally can't go anywhere without loads and loads of water.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. And I think obviously when we look at ourselves, we always see our flaws more than other people. So you're probably noticing the medication having more effect on me than I'm noticing
Yeah.
the medication having an
Yeah.
effect on me. And I guess if I was to look back,
That's exactly what I've been wanting. That's what I've been trying to say to you this whole time.
Yeah.
It's like, literally, Dawn, life is different. Life is better. And yes, it could be better still, and it isn't perfect, but there is improvement here. Like, you're on the path.
yeah. Oh, and one thing that I will note is at uni yesterday, it was my first day back at uni, and I actually sat down after lunch in the studio with everyone going around. I stuck my headphones in, and for half an hour, I sat and did research work
Fuck yes.
for my project.
Same.
I know. And that's unheard of.
Yeah.
Normally I would be like on my phone or chatting or
Yeah.
like distracted and
Yeah.
not doing something. But I was like, oh, I need to do some research. I want to get this started. And I actually did it. And I'm like,
Right. So,
there must be something in
yeah,
that.
well, yes. Well, we don't need to doubt it anymore then, do we? The drugs do work.
Yes.
They're not doing exactly what you want, and they might not be perfect, but you are noticing improvement, and that's what you can report to your titration
Yes.
nurse.
They're not doing as much as I'd hoped.
And they can do more.
And I think they can do more. But as it goes, they're doing something.
Yay! That's very, very, very good news. If you are finding this podcast helpful and you're in a position to do so, we are asking that you help us by signing up to our Patreon. In pledges starting at just £4 a month, it will give you access to our We Are ADHDAF community forum, in which we are both active members and we all support and learn from each other. You will also get access to behind-the-scenes content, exclusives, offers, blogs, vlogs, the works, everything in the kitchen sink. Your pledge will also mean that we will be able to continue to put out weekly episodes of ADHD as Females, the podcast.
Alternatively, if you would prefer just to make a donation, you can do so by visiting buymeacoffee.com/ADHD as Females. We know that our words are helping people in 164 countries and counting.
We really appreciate your support in supporting us to continue supporting the ADHD community.
If you are ADHDAF and you want more ADHDAF, join the We Are ADHDAF community. www.patreon.com/ADHD as Females.
Well, I started meds in March, and it took quite a while for me to feel all right. Like, I was immediately able to focus more.
Yeah.
And really, for me, it was the anxiety. The anxiety just went almost instantly. And I sort of didn't really notice it. That's the weird thing about it, this kind of subtlety to things.
Yeah.
Is that at one point, I think I said to Big something like, oh, I don't know if I want to take these or something. I was in a negative mood about it. And he just said, Laura, like, you've literally not had anxiety for the first time in your entire life.
Yeah.
Like, what are you on about? You know? But I really did have quite a lot of side effects. I felt dizzy a lot. So I would if I stood up too quickly, I would go dizzy and not be able to see for a second, things like that, because the dose was too high. What had happened was, so I'm on Elvance. I started at 30 milligrams, and I did notice an immediate difference because of this anxiety going away.
Yeah.
And just my ability, because what it is for me is that the RSD and all the rest of it is so acute that it would stop me from doing things. So I'd have ideas of things I wanted to do, and it's not really about bravery. It wasn't really something I could push through. It was like the doors would just shut around me. I can't do this or I can't do that. So when I saw that change, I was like, they were like, okay, we'll put you up to the next dose then if you want to try it. And I was just like, hell yes, I want to try it, because yes, I don't have this and that, but I quite clearly still have ADHD. And if it's made this much of a difference, then I'll go up to the 50 milligrams, because they take you up by 20 and down by 10. I don't know the science of it, but that's how it works. So I went from 30 milligrams to 50 milligrams and basically nearly passed out all the time.
Yeah.
And hyper focused so hard. Like, I would sit and write an email, and I would stare at that email for 2 hours and literally write 15 million words. And then I'd be like, oh, fuck, what have I just done? Like, where have 2 hours of my life gone?
Yeah.
And this wasn't even an important task. And yeah, I just felt really ropey. I felt dizzy all the time.
I think that's another thing to note is that, the drugs will help you focus, but not necessarily on the right things.
Well, this is the point, right? Is you have to work with them.
Yeah.
So there has to be a level of discipline. And the issue is, so many of us lack discipline because we don't have the drive and the motivation. But like there has to be a sweet spot, which is why, for example, with us doing this morning thing, like before we started doing the Wake Up with ADHD AF, there were times when you were rolling back over. So you weren't actually remembering to take the medication until later, or getting out of bed to get the glass of water to do it. Now, therein lies the hack.
Yeah.
You have to work with it. Taking medication isn't suddenly going to mean that you're going to be able to get up early. You have to find some discipline in it. So like for me, like I know that that's how it can still work. Even now I'm down on 40 milligrams and I don't get dizzy like that, which is great. And I do have more control over what I focus on. I will always have time blindness, sadly though.
Yeah.
So that is my time blindness will never go. But yeah, there has to be a level of discipline of like, what am I going to do today and how am I going to do it, and making myself do it. And then in the ways that I cannot, just fucking do it, like the most offensive thing anybody could ever say to us, when I can't just fucking do it, then there has to be a way to find a hack to support me in doing that. So it is working with it. But I have a meds review at the end of this month, and I don't really know what to do. Yeah. I don't have a clue. I don't know because they originally said, perhaps we'll take you back down. And I'm a bit like, well, why?
Yeah.
I don't really know why. I feel fine on it. And if they did take me down, and I mean, I don't know. And then what? So we go, oh no, actually, no, you were better off on 40. What? I have to go back up to 50 again to then come down to 40. I don't really know what the
Surely they
benefit
wouldn't
would
put
be.
you back up to 50 though. Maybe
No,
if
because
they took...
that's what I'm saying, is if you have to go up in 20 milligrams.
But maybe that's just
The first initial
time.
maybe.
Yeah, and if they
maybe.
know that 40 was working for you, then...
Yeah. So who knows? We'll see what happens with that. I have no idea.
It's interesting. But I do think that the way our systems work and the fact that it's kind of like a lot of people get offered one or the other. You can get CBT or coaching or the medication, like we heard in Joe's case.
Yeah.
And
one
it's
or
like,
the other.
Why can't we get both? Like they support each other. And if we can learn...
Research has shown that is how you work with it, is that you have both.
And that's it. And if you can learn to work with it, then maybe you don't need as high a dose.
Well, I don't know about that because the point is that everyone's different.
Well,
right?
of course.
So it's all about what works for your body, and some people can't even be on medication.
Yeah.
Because of how their body works,
Well, exactly. And some people don't want to be on medication.
Yeah.
And I think it's just about finding that happy medium. But I do think that, these things work together. And
especially, like you said, with us having to pick apart all of these coping mechanisms, bad habits, etc., that we've built up for a lifetime, the medication isn't going to help with that.
No, absolutely
and
not.
We need both to thrive. But back to the meds, I just wanted to share something else about medication. I'm going to a wedding in Dubai in March, which is really exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah, big cousin's wedding, so that'll be lovely. I'm very excited for that. But then I suddenly remembered that you need to check about taking that kind of medication abroad. So it transpires that I do actually have to apply for a specific visa to be able to take my medication to Dubai, or effectively I am smuggling illegal drugs over the border.
Which is wild.
Which is great for my anxiety. I love airports anyway. I'm just going to read a little bit more from this article. Can I take my ADHD medications abroad? Some ADHD medications are controlled drugs, so these you will need to apply for a personal export license if you are going abroad for more than 3 months and will be carrying more than 3 months' supply. You can apply for the license at least 10 working days before you travel. A list of controlled drugs can be found on the Home Office website. If you are going abroad for less than 3 months and will be taking less than 3 months' supply, you will not need a personal import license. However, some countries may have their own import regulations for controlled prescriptions medications, so you should check with the embassy or embassies of the country or countries that you are travelling to go to or through. The Home Office recommends that you get a letter from your prescribing doctor which will confirm your name, travel itinerary, names of prescribing controlled drugs, dosages and total amounts of each that you will be carrying. It's also a good idea to take a similar letter for any other medications you are taking which are not controlled drugs. So there you go.
Yeah, that's it's a lot, isn't it?
It is a lot.
Yeah, as if we don't have enough to deal with.
So yeah, it's a lot. Because like say, you know, you're into this new world, you're trying to find some treatment, you've fought tooth and nail to get there, you're only getting half of the treatment anyway, you're still dealing with all of your other shit, and now you're a criminal too. Thanks.
I know.
Cheers then.
I know. It's something else, isn't it?
It really is something else.
And that's why it should be a little bit easier.
It should be a lot easier, and it you know, it's awareness as well, and yeah. But here we are. But we just wanted to share that with you. So that's an update from both of us on titration and a little bit of information about travelling with medication and the rest.
And then we wanted to move on to talk about referrals, GP referrals.
Yeah.
We had someone speaking to us the other day, it was on one of our lives, saying that they were basically wondering what they could do if they were struggling to get a referral from their GP, if their GP wasn't taking them seriously and basically wasn't doing anything about it. So I found a great website a while ago. It's on ADHDaware.org.uk. And if you go to what is ADHD and then over to getting an NHS diagnosis, the part that I was looking at is what to do if you're having trouble with requesting the referral. So due to poor awareness about adult ADHD, it's very common for clinicians and GPs to not have awareness knowledge of adult ADHD. All too often, adult ADHD is ignored or misdiagnosed as a mental health condition such as depression, anxiety, bipolar, borderline personality disorder, or even dementia. So if you're having problems accessing services, you can print quotes from the NICE 87 guidelines that state only a specialist can diagnose or refuse a diagnosis. Often medical staff will only see the fallout from having unmanaged ADHD and wrongly make assumptions for the cause. For many people, having unmanaged ADHD can lead to significant problems with professional, interpersonal, and overall well-being, and can often present itself as anxiety and depression. If you feel that this is the case, then do feel free to refuse any treatments that they offer that does not address the cause, and make it clear that you're requesting an ADHD assessment. It can also be helpful to look at a list of symptoms and think about your life experience for each symptom. There are many ADHD quizzes that you can do online that can be a helpful indication. When you're requesting the referral, it can be helpful to think about all the different symptoms and how this matches with your life experience. So the NICE guideline quote on diagnosis states, "A diagnosis of ADHD should only be made by a specialist psychiatrist, paediatrician, or another appropriately qualified healthcare professional with training and expertise in the diagnosis of ADHD on the basis of a full clinical and psychosocial assessment of the person. This should include discussion about behaviour and symptoms in the different domains and settings of the person's everyday life, and a full developmental and psychiatric history and observer reports and assessment of the person's mental state." 2008. I'm guessing that's the report. But basically, if your doctor says, "I'm not referring you," then they can't really do that because you're requesting an assessment for an ADHD diagnosis. And if you're asking one and you believe you have it and you have all the supporting evidence to back yourself up, then they can't really say no.
Yeah. And this is the thing that's always just so outrageous about all of it, is that in order to access the help that you need from the specialist who knows what they're talking about, you have to pass the test of somebody who doesn't know what they're talking about. That is unacceptable. It is completely unreasonable that GPs are gatekeepers because they don't actually have the knowledge.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense whatsoever. And it's fine, you know, we're in this crisis with so many more people finally becoming aware that they are likely to have ADHD and wanting to have an assessment. But like, In which case, the GPs at least need to have up-to-date knowledge and experience in order to have the role of gatekeeper.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's also some additional information on the AADDUK.org website, which says if your doctor refuses to write you a referral, you can make an appointment to see a different GP, and again, take with you a copy of the patient version of the NICE guidelines, along with a list of symptoms with the relative ones circled. Tell your new GP that you will ring him exactly in 1 week's time to find out how the referral is going. Also remember, GPs are not qualified to assess for ADHD, which is exactly what we just spoke about in the NICE guidelines. Yeah. So I think it was NICE 87 guidelines.
Okay, brilliant.
So it's only a trained and qualified adult ADHD specialist that can assess you for ADHD.
Yeah.
And then there was another thing that came up in all of this, which was how to request a referral if there's no ADHD clinic in your area. And again, this is from the ADHDaware.org.uk website, and it says if there's no ADHD clinic in your area, you can request an out of area referral to another NHS clinic or to a local private clinic. So there are options. And I think a lot of people maybe don't know this, and they'll go to the GP and they'll get turned down, and that's that. They think it's game over.
That's that.
But it's not. You have to fight, and it's difficult. But
you shouldn't have to fight, but sadly, in many cases we do. And just remember to speak to other GPs, and just fight and complain, especially if you are somebody that has been misdiagnosed and been given treatment for something else, that is arguably medical negligence.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? If your symptoms have not improved of the thing you've been diagnosed with for the treatment that you've received, then there's every chance that isn't what you have.
Exactly.
So there's that.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was just going to add that, like, I was very fortunate that when I came out of my NHS assessment ordeal, that when I phoned up and spoke to a GP, I got a really nice, empathetic, understanding GP, and she was great, and so that kind of helped me access shared care and get my private diagnosis.
Yes.
So it does sometimes take talking to different GPs.
100%.
Like, don't stick to the one that that you've been speaking to if they're not helping you.
The problem is, though, as we well know, is that this is all just so ableist, because as ADHDers, many of us struggle so much with admin. We struggle so much with for advocating with for ourselves. Many of us miss appointments or get times wrong and all the rest of it. So in order to access the treatment, you have to battle the symptoms of the untreated condition.
Yeah.
This is ableism.
Absolutely.
And it needs to change.
No, it's not okay.
And, we just have to keep using our voices, raising awareness, coming together, because change needs to happen. We are literally in a crisis at this moment in time, and the government is not even acknowledging it, which is frightening. So obviously last October, when we had ADHDAF Day, thank you to everybody who got on board with that. We said that if things had not improved, a year from the date, the 21st of October, that we would march in protests as our leopard print army. Now, what we've since found out is, and I won't lie here, I did perceive potentially getting arrested.
Yeah.
And I was up for it, because I would gladly get arrested for this cause, 100%.
So I guess first is that we obviously want to do, like, activism.
We are activists.
We are
This
activists.
is activism in action.
Yeah, exactly. But we maybe don't speak enough about what we're doing, and we'll share the odd petition and stuff. But behind the scenes, there's a lot of work going as to what we can really do.
Yeah.
But we want to just make sure that we gather as much information, as much evidence before we make any big moves, so that we can back ourselves up.
Yeah.
And so that we're educated before we try and do.
Well, what it is before we started this, I read the book You Can Make Change Happen, How to Be an Activist by Amika George, who did the Free Periods campaign. And it basically tells you, like, how to make change happen. Obviously, tricks in the tail. That's what it says in the tin. And in it, she explains that, when you found what the problem is, you try and find a solution. even when you think you've cracked it, I solved all of this in February, by the way.
Yeah.
I literally had the plan. I was there. And then as time goes on, you speak to more people and you find the holes in your plan, and there will be many because you're only looking at it from your perspective, and you need to understand it from all angles and all the different reasons why things happen. And that is in part literally what we are doing here.
Yeah.
You know, that is why we ask the question, if you could change the diagnosis process, what would you change? And to say make it quicker isn't a good enough answer. We need to know. We need to know. And that's why we try so hard to speak to clinicians. We've only got one so far, but, you know, we really are trying to understand this problem from all angles, because once you have a really solid, airtight idea of how to make change happen, and you've spoken to enough people and you have enough people behind you, that's when you put a petition out.
Yeah.
And that is what we're doing, and that's what we've been doing. So although what we're doing might not look like activism, that is really the secret core goal behind ADHDAF. And I just didn't say it because we, you know, there's nothing this world hates more than an angry woman.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So we you know, it's not that we've been masking or hiding that. It's just that ADHDAF has 2 core aims, and three. You know, it's awareness, it's community validation, but it's also activism, and
that's it.
That's what we're doing here.
And so as we're learning a little bit about doing
the protest. Yeah, so the plan was that you know, we were going to march in protest on the 21st of October, has always been the plan. And yeah, like I say, I would gladly get arrested for this cause, no worries.
Absolutely.
What I didn't realise was that getting arrested for organising and taking part in a protest now can come with 1 year in prison.
And what was the fine? Was it like $5,000 or something?
I can't remember, but it's the year in prison.
A year in prison.
A year in
and
prison.
a
So you
huge
are
fine.
basically telling me that the government is knowingly ignoring this problem, destroying the NHS. I mean, like, how can you ignore this problem? It is so enormous. It is literally everywhere. All of these people suffering. A problem which is contributing to unemployment, divorce, teenage pregnancy, drug addiction, alcoholism, and the rest. These huge societal problems that actually cost a lot of money. And this problem is just being completely ignored, and people are losing their lives. You look at the statistics, right? But you're going to do all of that, and then if the people dare speak up and say something about it, you're going to lock us up?
Yeah.
It actually makes me feel sick. It makes my bones ache.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looks like we can't protest in London.
In England, we can't protest.
We might be able to protest here.
Yes.
So if we can entice anybody up to Aberdeen for the 21st of October.
Or potentially even down to Holyrood.
Yeah.
Edinburgh.
Yeah. We'll keep you posted.
Yeah.
But yes, that's what we're doing behind the scenes. It may look like us just talking nonsense, but actually we talk to a lot of people and not about nonsense. And we really are trying to make change happen. This is our life work. This is our calling. This is what we want.
We're trying to be as informed as we can about all these situations and speaking to lots of different people. So hopefully we can keep building this army and
we can come together and make change happen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Where did that come from? You're not cutting it. I liked it.
I don't know. Absolutely.
I liked it.
Jesus.
But with that in mind, if you follow us on our socials at ADHD as Females, you will know that we have started, we've not started a campaign at all, actually. We're just begging people to use their voices because we have an opportunity for them to be heard and to influence parliamentary debate about the ADHD diagnosis process and ASD in the UK. So we teamed up with the wonderful Kat,
who is from our Discord Patreon community.
Yeah.
And she is fantastic.
Yeah.
And she's done some campaigning and done some wonderful stuff.
She's a disability campaigner for like all of her adult life. And she has really helped us to be brave enough to really do some pushing. Because as I explained, we've been a bit nervous about how to go about things. But she has, really helped us.
Yeah, because I'm clueless when it comes to campaigning. I'm clueless when it comes to politics. But what I do know is that I have a passion about ADHD and people getting the help and support that they need.
And that's really all it's about. It's like nobody wakes up knowing about politics. You just have to get stuck in and find out what can be done. And Kat has helped us do that.
Yeah.
So if you are listening to this and it is still Tuesday, or it is prior to 10 a.m. on Wednesday, there is still time. There is a link in our bio, the top link, which takes you to a survey. Now, a couple of people have been thrown off because they've been like, well, the petitions are closed. There's no petition signed. It isn't a petition. The petitions are closed. This is a survey. So it's a questionnaire, a series of questions, which will inform the parliamentary debate.
The more people that fill in this survey, the more serious they're going to take it.
The more seriously they're going to take it, the more angles they're going to have on it, the more that they're going to understand how enormous this problem is and how urgent action is to change the system. So we really need everybody to do this. Now, we bloody well know. I did my tax return yesterday. We know how hard it is to do online forms and to do any kind of admin like that. It can feel like pulling teeth. But we've got a fight on our hands and fight we must. So we have to push through. We have to push through and pull together. And it's understandable as well that many people feel disillusioned by the government, myself included. But what we need to remember, which is what Kat pointed out to us, is that the MPs work for us.
Yeah.
So the amazing quote that she used in yesterday's bonus blether is nothing about us without us.
Yeah.
Right? This directly concerns us. Anybody who is listening to this podcast has been directly affected by this problem. Okay, maybe not if you're not in the UK, but you'll have your own feelings about it. And actually what Kat has done can help you too in wherever you are based.
Yeah.
Because the Legend of a Lady has created a letter template to send to your MP. And that is obviously from her perspective. So it's like a female late diagnosed ADHD perspective. But all you need to do, if her experience aligns with yours and the message that you want to get to your MP, literally all you've got to do is fill in your details in the blanks, click the link at the top, which will take you to a website to help you find who to contact and how. And you just download it, fill in your details, find the person and email them. She's really made it very, very easy for us to do that. And I know that she took some inspiration from the ADHD adults. They have a template on their website.
Yeah.
So thank you to them for that as well. So yeah, it is a little bit of admin, but this is our moment.
This is a chance for us to actually make change.
We can actually make this happen. We can be heard. We've been downtrodden. We've been let down by the system, and we have an opportunity to influence systemic change right now, but it has to happen now.
And it may seem like we're banging on and on about it.
Because we are.
But because we are, and because we have to, we have this opportunity right now and we have to take it.
Yeah.
And so we know that our voices alone aren't going to do anything.
No.
But with you guys behind us, getting involved, we can do something.
Together
Strength
we can.
in numbers.
Together we can. And, we can see how many people have clicked the link in our bio. I think we're on about 500 now, which is fantastic. But we have more than 500 followers and we definitely have more than 500 listeners. So come on, people. This affects us all.
Yeah.
We can just fill out a survey. We can. And if you really, really can't, find somebody to help you and encourage others to do the same, because there are enough of us and they work for us and we need change. And at this moment in time, we literally can make change happen.
Yeah.
So please do that. So the top link in our bio, there'll also be links in the blurb of this episode, but the top link in our bio is the survey. Ignore the petition bit, scroll down from when the screen goes green to white, answer the questions. That's just one thing that you can do right now to change the system. Then if you would like to, and we would absolutely bloody love you to, go to the second link in our bio, click download and contact your MP, because, yeah, we really need change. And rather than just being upset about it, let's use our horrible experiences and actually make it better for everybody else and for future generations. We can make the change happen.
Yeah. And as Laura said, like, if you're struggling to do it, get someone to help you. Tell them what you want to say, get them to type it out, get them to send it, get some support doing it.
Yeah, anybody, and just try and share the post, share the survey. We have such little time. This is coming out at 5 p.m. GMT, which means it's literally, I can't do the maths, I can't, but we've got
less than 24 hours.
10 a.m. the following day is when it closes. Please do it
10
now.
a.m. on the 25th of January, so it really needs to be done.
Right now.
Right now.
That is the final hour. Let's unite and make it happen.
And we'll stop banging on about it after tomorrow.
Well, we won't actually, because the MP letter doesn't have to be in by tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true.
The MP letter can go right up until the 6th of February when the parliamentary debate happens. So we'll carry on banging on, but please answer the survey, guys. It will just take a few minutes. And this is what we're talking about. This is what we're all here for, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it. So that is enough serious chat. Shall we dive into the silly nonsense?
Let's dive right in. What are we starting with? Rabbit hole.
Yes. So the most ADHDAF rabbit holes of the week. We've got a couple from that you've sent in, and we love reading them. So please do keep sending them in. This one was so brilliant. Anyone in the market for a new gazebo or covered garden structure? I'm your girl. The rabbit hole got so complex that it took me out into subgenres of covered spaces such as those see-through bubble geodomes, then branched out to barbecue huts via chicken runs and back via hot tub shelters. Still none the wiser on what works for our garden, but I'm fully briefed on roofed options. Now that
I love that.
is not only brilliant, but what was so funny is that somebody actually picked up on it and went, well, yes, actually, I really do want to know about this. And then they went off and had their own conversation.
I love it.
I love it. A whole little community gazebo chat on Instagram.
That's so good.
Now, this one is hilarious because it's basically linked to mine, except this person actually won, and I'm still balls deep in the rabbit hole. Oh, no, not balls deep in the rabbit hole. That's not right at all. Up
That's
to my
so
eyes
inappropriate.
in rabbit hole. No, that doesn't work either. You get what I'm saying. I'm still in the midst of the rabbit hole. So this person says, eyebrow pencils. Needed a new one and have been on an investigative internet mission for a while now. Good news is I finally settled and purchased, and it's perfect. Well, I am very happy for you because I am still in absolute dramas about the eyebrow pencil. So, creature of habit that I am, I've been using the same MAC eyebrow. It's like got a pen on one end and like this dabber thing on the other end, which is like, I don't know, like powdery stuff.
Yeah.
MAC powder brow or something. And obviously powder brows aren't cool anymore. And so basically they've discontinued my eyebrow makeup. And now I basically know about every single kind of eyebrow makeup that is on the market, but I have complete overwhelm with the choice. I can't decide.
Choice paralysis.
I can't decide which one to get. I don't know which is the right one to get.
Well, maybe you need to ask this
I do.
person because they've got the perfect one.
What's yours?
What my eyebrow pencil?
No, your rabbit hole.
Right, okay, my rabbit hole. So yeah, I was on a night out and I came home and made a drunken purchase of an air fryer. And I'm obsessed.
What an amazing product. What an amazing thing.
Drunk don't ain't all bad.
So I have been deep in a rabbit hole learning about all the things I can make in the air fryer. And I've been making like breakfast, baked oats for breakfast.
You can put a banana in there, you said?
Yeah, I've been doing like caramelized bananas with cinnamon on. What else?
Boiled eggs?
You can do eggs. You don't even need to put it in water. You just stick it in your air fryer in the shell. You can do your eggs. Like obviously like things like potato wedges.
And it was only 65 quid.
It was 65 quid from Dunelm. Just a little plug there.
They're not paying us, but they should.
Yeah, they should. And and it's a decent size one as well. And so I've been learning about all sorts of goodies that you can do. Courgette, crisps, and with parmesan and garlic bread that you basically just roll up like pieces of sliced bread and roll them up and dip them in garlic butter and throw them in. And oh my God, there's just so many things. And I'm just obsessed. Absolutely
you are
obsessed.
absolutely obsessed. She keeps pushing the air fryer on me. Like anything is just like, you just need to get an air fryer. You've literally said it multiple times a day, every single day since you got it.
Yeah.
I do want one, but I've just gone back on HelloFresh, so I have nothing to air fry.
Air fryer HelloFresh. Just do it. Just chuck it on the air fryer. And it's funny because that takes us on to ADHD. That takes us on to the most ADHD thing. And we've got one here from one of our listeners who says, there's been a few, but I think the top winner has to be burning myself on the air fryer.
No!
And then running it under the hot tap.
Oh, no! Oh,
That's going to hurt.
God.
We hope you're all right.
yeah, that's not good.
We hope
How
you're
do you
all
burn
right.
yourself on an air fryer? I just don't understand these contraptions.
Well,
Is there like actually heat inside them? Well, I mean, obviously there is, but I mean like an oven that you could burn yourself in that
it's
way.
essentially like an oven, but because there's like air continually, bashed the thing. Because there's air continually like circulating
Yeah.
through it, it's like a lot quicker
Okay.
than just your regular oven. So it is just like an oven. So when the drawer pulls out,
It's
like
hot
that
inside.
whole external metal part's really hot.
Got ya.
So we have someone else here who said that they were hyper-focusing so much on messaging Laura on Discord the other morning that they had time blindness about the pizza that they had in the oven for their son. So they took it out of the oven and there's a picture of it here and it just looks like a black frisbee.
I'm so sorry.
So there you go.
I've got the guilt now.
Not your fault. Easily done. Get an air fryer. It's got a timer on it. You can do pizza in an air fryer. And that's the other great thing.
Here we go, look.
Here we go again. But that's the other great thing about an air fryer is that it's got a timer on it. So it automatically turns itself off when the timer runs out.
Well, there
you
you
can't
go.
burn anything.
That is very good. That is actually very good, isn't
You
it?
can't burn anything.
Yeah.
Telling you,
Yeah.
like I should be a spokesperson for air fryers.
Well, you are.
Anyway, Laura, what's the most ADHD thing you've done this week?
Well, it's absolutely the most ridiculous thing ever. On Monday morning, I woke up and realised that I had a splinter in my hand. And it was really bad and it was really sore and really deep and I couldn't quite get it out. And so I messaged Dawn to say, I've got a splinter or something. Oh no, I said it because we were on the call, weren't we?
We're on, was it a live or a call or
no,
something?
we were on the Wake Up with ADHDAF morning thing, and I was like, "Oh, I've got this splinter in my hand," and you were like, "Oh, I hope it's still in there later because I love getting splinters out."
Yeah, I was like, that's right up my street. I love picking. I was like, I'll get that out for you.
So anyway, we get together in the afternoon, and Dawn gets to work with this splinter, getting it out of my finger, and when she pulls it out, she's like, "Oh my God, Laura, it's glitter." Like, how the hell? You've now got like glitter actually under your skin. Like, how have you managed this? Anyway,
I'm like, we know she likes glitter and sparkles, but it's ridiculous that it's actually becoming
Embedded.
part of
Yeah.
her body now.
And then I was sitting for ages, and then I suddenly realised that back in the summer when I was doing the festivals, I'd made a load of hats, yours included, that have mirror tiles, like a disco ball.
Yeah.
So I'd effectively made hats into sort of disco ball hats. And because I work in a really chaotic way, obviously, all of the stuff is all over the table always. And my phone's hidden underneath feathers and sequins and all sorts of things. And one of the strips of disco ball had stuck itself to the back of my phone case. And in true ADHD fashion, I just never bothered to pick it off. And what I'd been doing was just sitting, using my phone, and had basically got a splinter of a piece of mirror into my finger from the back of my phone.
Yeah. Absolute
Ridiculous thing
madness.
ever. But I would like to take this win. I did actually pick them off.
Yeah.
So it only took, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, 7 months.
Well done.
But I've done it. It took an injury, but I've done it.
So Laura is no longer slowly turning into a glitter ball.
But Dawn, please share what I have to say is my favourite, most ADHD thing ever.
Okay, here we go. Last night, I was over at Laura's, and it was when we were doing our prize, our live prize giveaway, and I had said that I was like, oh crap, I need to put my car into the garage because it's in for MOT and service. So I was like, oh, I don't suppose Big would maybe give us a lift back if I'd go and drop my car off. It's just down the road. And it says it's about a 20-minute walk back.
And it's so cold.
And it's super cold. So yeah, so that was fine. So we went out and I'm chatting away and I can't remember what I was doing.
Well, you just said to me, where will I meet you?
Yeah.
And I said, no, I don't know where this place is, so we'll just follow you in the car.
Yeah, so I just got into my car beside.
She's like, right you are.
Because Big's car was parked right next to mine, so I just got, okay, I'll just follow me. So got into my car, and as I was closing the door, Laura said, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "What?" And she's like, "Dawn, you're getting in the passenger side."
We just sat there in the passenger side of her car like it's going to drive itself with probably her only friend that cannot drive. I sure as hell wasn't going to drive you there, was I?
The best part is if you hadn't said anything, I would have just sat there. I'd have probably and what I would have normally done is I would have sat there until you'd driven off and been like, right, now I'll get into the driver's side. But I couldn't because you guys were following me, so I had to get out of the passenger side of my car, walk around the car and get into the driver's side with you guys just staring at me through the window, laughing your heads off.
Honestly, I laughed all the way there.
Oh.
It's so funny. And in my head, I was like hanging out the passenger side. So just literally like, yeah, okay, great, yeah, you follow me, getting into the passenger side.
I don't know what I was doing.
So funny.
So yeah, that's
So
the most
funny.
that's the most ADHD thing I've done
Made
this
my
week.
face hurt. Thank you so much to everybody who sends in their most ADHD things, their rabbit holes of the week. Thank you to everybody for listening,
Yes.
for reviewing, for giving us those stars, for sharing, for saving. Every single thing that you do helps us to spread the message further and wider, which means that not only are we helping others to feel validated, but we're also raising this crucial awareness in the hope that we can pull people together and sort out this broken system and get people the help that they desperately, desperately need.
Amen.
So, and yeah, in order to continue to make this podcast, we really do need your help. So if you're in a position to do so, if this podcast has helped you, please help us by joining our community. And in turn, you will get all sorts of amazing things, basically to be part of a community of complete legends, because everybody there is.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who totally get it, support each other. And we have blogs, vlogs, live Q&As, blethers, behind the scenes, body doubling, both in the evenings, mornings, just all sorts, behind the scenes content. You also get a discount on tickets for our Too Much Tour. Tits on tour.
I don't know if anyone saw that on my stories, but I couldn't help myself. You know, just like it just reminded me of that episode of Wife Swap where Lizzie says to the woman, "Tits on fucking tour." And when we started doing this tour, that's kind of like how I felt. I was like, oh, people are going to look at me and they're just going to, who does she think she is? Bloody tits on tour. You know what I mean? It's just like, whatever. Because part of me thinks, who do I bloody think I am?
Who do we think we are? Seriously, we don't know, but we're doing it anyway. We're doing it anyway because we pull each other along. We want to connect with all of you wonderful people. We want to bring the community together and we want to set an example about unmasking. And that is why it's called the Too Much Tour.
Yeah.
We've always said that, you know, ADHD, neurodivergence, it presents differently in every single person. And our form of it is this too muchness.
Yeah.
And we are unmasking and owning it and coming to be too much all over the place, and to unite the community and to make people realise that they're not alone and we are all in this together. So
Here.
we've only introduced the first one so far.
Yeah, so it's on Aberdeen on the 4th of March, 3 p.m. till 7 p.m. at the Chester Hotel.
In the beautiful granite suite. It is honestly, my jaw hit the floor. It's incredible. We're so excited and so grateful to the Chester Hotel for having us and letting us be too much all over the place.
It's
bringing
amazing.
the Leopard Print Army
It's
in.
amazing. It's amazing. So tickets are on sale via Eventbrite.
Yep.
And
you can get it through the link in our bio.
yeah, and if you join our Patreon community, you will get a discount.
Yes. We did have somebody message about the tour saying, is it just like a social? Is there actually going to be something happening? No, we're doing an actual show.
Yeah.
It's not a podcast recording, but it is our podcast in live form, effectively. There'll also be some surprises. We've got special guest appearances from Fiona McInnes and Nicole Nadler from the podcast.
Yep.
And it's really, really going to be fun. So please do get those tickets and come and see us in Aberdeen. And the rest of the tour we will be announcing very, very soon.
Yeah, we are working on it.
We've just been super busy because we also launched our ADHDAF apparel.
We did.
We're literally
With
going
T-Mill.
for it. We are going for it. So T-Mill, if you don't know about T-Mill, although they're not a small business per se, they are doing amazing things.
Yeah, and they have great ethics.
Really are. They're, a lot of the products are made from partly from recycled clothing already. That everything is ethical, sustainable, how the factory works, everything. So
and you can recycle the clothing that you buy
can send
from
the clothing back. It's like a circular system. So there's a lot of information about that on the webpage. But yeah, ADHDAF apparel. Again, you can find the link in our bio or on the merchandise page on our website. There's a link to it.
Yeah.
The products come direct from them. So it's not something that can be bought in, whatever the word is, with the other handmade merch that we sell from our makers, but it's all there. And we're really excited about it and people have been loving it. We just couldn't make our logos because they've got such thin lines. We couldn't make it with Gillian, unfortunately. So we're super grateful for her amazing work, and we are still working with F Rainbow. We just can't meet the demand of different sizes, different colours, different styles. It's just impossible for us to do, but luckily T-Mill have got it all sorted out.
Yeah,
so
perfect.
That is very exciting.
So as always, look after yourself, be kind, be compassionate to others and yourself, and keep fighting the good fight. And speaking of fights,
please when you come out of this episode, go into the blurb, tap the link and fill in the survey now, right now. We know you want change. We know you've suffered, and we know that we don't want anybody else to suffer as we have. We can make change happen. Now.
do it.
Survey, now.
Do it.
ADHD as females, ADHD AF, ADHD as females.